Welcome to Chelmsford Telemedia's coverage of Independence Day, direct from the town common in Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
So we're watching the police come near with the honor guard that will kick off our parade. We'll have a play-by-play for you here, trying to give you a little of the background of the groups. So stay tuned. Moments from now, our parade will begin, and I wish you a safe and happy 4th of July.
The police is always to have the Central Police Honor Guard, led by Lieutenant Dan Hunt, Lieutenant Edward Smith, Lieutenant James King, Sergeant Jeffrey Burnham, Detective Craig Walsh, Patrolman John Allen, and Patrolman John Goffin. And marching behind me on the guard is our own police chief, Kim Murphy. Welcome, Chief. Behind the chief is K-9 Officer David Leo. Mr. K-9 this year, Flacco. Welcome, Flacco. Behind the K-9 car is the Animal Control Officer Eric Murray.
Just a few minutes ago, you heard the national anthem sung, and now we have the honor guard and the police department kicking off the parade. The lead cruiser there is police car number 2. You also see the K-9 officer David Leo and our K-9 Flacco with animal control officer Eric Merrill. The honor guard was here in town at 8:30 this morning for the raising of the flag on the new flagpole here in the town center, which is wonderful and can be seen from far away. The honor guard is led by Lieutenant Dan Ahern and includes Lieutenant Dan Ed Smith, James Spinney, Sergeant Jeff Bernier, Detective Craig Walsh, Patrolman Brian Mullen, and Patrolman John Goffin. There's VFW Commander Eric LaMarche in the VFW Post 662. Also with him are Senior Vice Commander Norman Guerrier, and the VFW Honor Guard involves 2 Jeeps, 1 car. One of the great things about this parade is that it gives us a moment, all too few it seems, to honor our various military branches, current and past, who have served our country nobly and often heroically in the cause of freedom for our country. That is a lot of what Independence Day is all about, celebrating our independence from British rule all those many years ago. 236, if my math is correct. You can see all the people lined up on either side of North Road, 6, 7, 8 deep. Some of those people put out chairs as early as last Friday. That's when I saw my first ones. Walking down a great place to see the parade, from which to see the parade is a time-honored tradition here in town. I'm sure all those people arrived this morning with to find those seats very wet from the rains overnight.
Coming up next is our Merrimack Rally Vietnam veteran. The 30-year anniversary of working for the POW-MIA.
See the last member of the VFW here going by. Looks like, oh, I'm sorry, apologize. That was American Legion Post 212. They usually have their the Lowell 40 and 8 train. Maybe, oh, I see it there in the background. All right, we're just a little bit out of order here. First, we have the Merrimack Valley Vietnam veterans. They're celebrating their 30th anniversary this year of working for prisoners of war and missing in action service members. Of course, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan have put new emphasis, positive emphasis on the Vietnam War and what was involved in that. Many of us remember those times as being very divisive in our country, but I think it's fair to say that when it comes to remembering our Vietnam veterans, we've all come together on that.
We're very proud today to welcome our hometown hero, the Corporal Nick Hamilton, moving back from Afghanistan. Lance Corporal Tim McKnight, moving back from Afghanistan. Sergeant Brendan Collins, from the Army National Guard.
Now here we have Miss Lowell. This is the train from the American Legion Post 212. The writing on the side is 40 home and 8 chevaux. That's 40 men and 8 horses. This is a remembrance of World War I fighting when a French train with a boxcar was carried men and horses to the front lines of World War I fighting. And here is the U.S. Air Force Band of Liberty. It's one of 10 Air Force bands nationwide. This one is stationed at Hanson Air Force Base. That's a group of 60 musicians. And they've been entertaining New England audiences since 1978. They don't just march in parades, they make appearances at Air Force facilities worldwide. Here we have the town manager and board of selectmen. Town manager, of course, Paul Cohen. On your left there is George Dixon Jr., who's the selectman. I think he's going to, John Curlin's going to say a few words for us. Let's see if we can pick him up. John Curlin and Lou Marcello there taking the microphone from him. The other selectmen, Matt Hansen, Jim Lane, and Pat Wojcik. And coming up behind them are the parade marshals. We have 3 parade marshals this year, honoring various longtime educators here in the town.
Next up is the Chelmsford Fire Department Honor Guard. Robert Garner, Josh Abbott, Billy King, Pat Bailey, Mike Young, and
Our marshals are Al Thomas,
followed by the Furman staff, Keith Michael Furman,
Angie Toronto, and Bernie Battle. You can see them there, dressed like the 3 Musketeers. And between them, they represent more than nearly 1.5 centuries of dedication to Chelmsford Public Schools. Al was a former high school principal and now is on the school committee. Angie was on the school committee, began teaching here in 1959, and Bernie began teaching in 1969. Here's the Chelmsford Fire Department and Honor Guard, seen earlier this morning. Rob Gardner, Josh Abbott, Jerry Turner, Pat Daly, Mike Young, Bob Gardner. Behind them is Chief Mike Kern, Deputy Chiefs Mike Donahue and Gary Ryan. The fire department likes to keep its equipment up to date, but it hangs on to some of the rare pieces, as do most fire departments. You just saw there the 1935 Maxim fire engine owned here by the Chelmsford Fire Department. Fire department has been in the news a lot lately as the town tries to come to grips with the replacement of the center fire station. I think there's now a plan in place to add on to the town hall offices. The bonds for that were just let out. We got a very good rate. Our town's credit rating has improved to AA by Moody's, and so that makes it cheaper for us to borrow money, which we'll need to do to build that new fire station adjacent to the town hall offices. In the meantime, our firefighters continue to work out of the center and the outlying fire stations. It's been pretty positive recently in that we've been able to reopen the South Fire Station, which had been closed for a while, South Chelmsford, not far from me. There's a 1959 Forestry truck. Still looks to be in pretty good operating condition. You know, a lot of these fire engines serve for a very long time. This one, I think, is full of firefighter cheerleaders. That forestry truck is owned by David Bennett. It used to be in the Chelmsford Fire Department, but no longer. A lot of the parade goers have a love-hate relationship with these fire trucks. The good news is you might get yourself a little bit of candy tossed out one of the windows. The bad news is you might get a face full of water from a squirt gun. Chief Mike Kern and his crew do wonderful work here in town. I toured the center fire station a couple of months ago, and I think they're all very eager to move into new quarters. Well, here comes the Chelmsford High School, the Chelmsford Public School Committee, and the school superintendent. The superintendent is Dr. Frank Tiano, and the school committee members are Janet Askenberger, who's the chair, Nick DeSilvio, Mike Rigney. Al Thomas is not there because he was parade marshal, and Evelyn Thorne. Our school committee is very hard working. It's a kind of a tireless, thankless job. They have so many regulations to deal with, and they do it all on a volunteer basis. Hats off to them. Behind them is the Chelmsford High School Marching Band, sponsored this year. Their appearance is sponsored by Lockheed Martin here in Chelmsford.
Following the high school band, the Suburbanettes Twirl team, the Mass State Band Suburbanettes Twirl team. They march annually at the New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade. They've also performed the Disney World 8 times.
You can see that they have the advantage of being able to march in knit shirts and slacks. Boy, when I was in high school band, we had these uniforms with these big fuzzy furry hats that weighed about 30 pounds. It was not fun to march in hot weather like this. And the high school band will be getting new uniforms this fall, so we'll look for them to be a little spiffier next year. And behind them are the the Suburbanettes twirling team. They appeared last night on the Common before the Chelmsford Community Band. It was great to see them all. They did some amazing numbers. These young women and girls are dedicated to the art of twirling. Batons, I think, is something that is going to be part of Americana for many, many years to come. Well, now if this golf cart coming up looks familiar to you, then that means you must be at least 60 years old, because this is a 1957 golf cart. Being driven by Harold and Dottie Casey. By the way, the Suburbanettes twirl team are the Mass State champions. They march annually in the New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade. They've performed at Disney World 8 times and gone as far afield as Dublin, Ireland. Coming up is Cub Scout Pack 70, which is from North Chelmsford. This is Cub Scouts are for grades 1 through 5, boys 1 through 5. They do all kinds of community service projects, as you might imagine. And they'd like to thank Red Wagon Landscaping for donating the truck and trailer, and as well as thanking Steve Desjardins Construction for the materials for this year's float. The CVCC that you see there on the poster stands for Central Cooperative Nursery School. A local organization that was established in 1960. And the Coop, as they call themselves, offers part and full-time care for children from 2 to 9 years of age.
All in the Greater Region Children's Center is Acton Community Band. They've been entertaining and educating through music since 1972. Directed by Paul Burrow, the band will be performing concerts in the country common lawn Tuesday evening throughout the summer.
Here's the float of the Greater Visions Children's Center, which is on Old Westford Road, right off the Drumhill Rotary. This is a educational group that's recently become accredited. They are a licensed nonprofit, non-corporate child care center, which provides quality care for children from infants up through 12 years of age. They also do a lot of fundraising activities, such as for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, March of Dimes, and so forth. Great organization. Well, behind them on the flatbed there is the Chelmsford Community Band, which has been entertaining us since 1972. This is their 40th year of service to the town. They're directed by Paul Burler, and they put on a great concert last night on the town common. A lot of great patriotic songs were played. They'll be performing on the common on Tuesday nights, evenings through late summer. So come on down and listen to some of them. Some of the songs that they play, really rich musical heritage, that wide-ranging repertoire that they have. This is the Bishop Ruocco Council of the Knights of Columbus, representing Chelmsford and Westford and Littleton. Knights of Columbus is a Catholic fraternal organization that focuses on charity, fraternity, and patriotism. Heavily involved locally in all kinds of activity. See their float there, the 4th degree Knights in their dress regalia. Behind them you saw briefly there the new town renovated Old Town Hall, now the Chelmsford Center of the Arts. Just a wonderful, wonderful facility, and it's symbolic of the renaissance that's taking place here in the town. I really need to give a shout out to Susan Gates, who was the driving force behind that renovation. The building itself was built in 1879, and the ribbon cutting was last night. It's being after a $2.6 million renovation that took almost a year and a half. Just an amazing project. A lot of that funding came from community preservation funds. It was actually the home of the town offices until 1981. I'm not sure if you knew that. And so with the ribbon cutting, it will become a real social focus for the town. As before, there are offices on the first floor. Chelmsford Telemedia has a little studio in there. We'll be doing some production work out of there. And the top floor of the auditorium has been just beautifully restored. As I said earlier, it's old and new at the same time. It's air conditioned. There is wireless transmission for the hearing impaired. Chelmsford Telemedia donated a great video and audio system. And we'll get a chance to try it out on July 5th, I think, when Fred Barzik shows one of his great documentary films. See your local listings or Chelmsford Telemedia, chelmsfordtv.org for information on that. But as you can see, the renovations are just spectacular from the outside. It's a grand building, just oozing with the history of the town. And I hope you get a chance to go and check it out. Well, here we have the first of our political entrants in the parade. There are going to be a lot of them this year because of the upcoming election. This is Mike Barrett, who's a Democrat running for the State Senate 3rd Middlesex District seat. That district includes Chelmsford, Carlisle, Bedford, and other communities. I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see Susan Fargo in the parade this year. I didn't see her on the list, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her. She's retiring after 15 years in the State Senate representing Chelmsford. And this is the State Police Underwater Recovery Unit. It's the kind of unit in the State Police that you really only hear about on the news. They're never going to pull you over, but they have a very important job to do in terms of situations when water is an issue. They operate throughout eastern Massachusetts, Cape Cod, and the islands in all kinds of weather, winter too. They do search and rescue operations. There you see our new flagpole, which is dramatically visible as a vantage from all vantage points as you enter the town. Erected about 6 months ago, as I recall. And during the flag raising this morning, the flag is huge. It's just a wonderful symbol of our country and our town. And here you have a close-up of the steeple at the First Parish Church, which was recently renovated at the same time that the old town hall was going on. That was also a collaboration with the town. The parish itself put in, I believe, about $66,000, and the rest of the money came from the town through Chelmsford preservation funds. An important link there is the clock that you see, which is actually owned by the town. And that the clock has been in the church steeple for a very long time. I'm going through my notes here to try to see if I can figure out when that was. But that's now been renovated. The original steeple, it is not the original steeple. That blew down in 1876. So, in fact, it's been hit twice by lightning in 1910 and again in 1955. But as anyone who's been through town knows, it's been in dire need of repairs. It was last repaired in 1981, and the renovations have been ongoing throughout the spring and early summer, and it's all done and it looks great. Beyond the steeple there, you see in the background the forefathers' burying ground.
Got the best view in the house. You got the best view in the parade.
Again, looking down the parade route, got a little pause there as some of the entrants are catching up. I think a lot of people have red t-shirts, red shorts, red hats, who knows, red underwear in their collections that they wear one time each year, and they bring it out on the 4th of July. Why not?
And then Sam goes, John, I hate to interrupt you, but you have an important guest. I kept saying, I thought I was the important guest. Who they bump you for? I have no idea. I was just glad that I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have stuff to say.
These aerial shots you see are coming to you courtesy of our cherry picker from Community Tree, which has graciously provided this. And you see all those wires there? Just imagine them gone. They will be soon. The utility burying project, which has been a long time in the works, is coming to a conclusion. Not a rapid conclusion, but it is coming to a conclusion. Maybe by winter, those will be all gone. The underground conduit has been laid, and all that's needed now is really to transfer the wires from above ground to below ground.
And also what we...
Now the van you see coming up there in the foreground is owned by WCAP Radio 980 on your AM radio dial. They're actually broadcasting the parade live, as are we. They serve Chelmsford, Lowell, and the entire Merrimack Valley. Okay, I know there's a state law against texting while you're driving, and I don't know if it applies to taking pictures. CAP, of course, has been around for a very long time. It's the voice of the valley. As their slogan says, everybody gets it. You can see from the general panorama here that it's a mix of sun and clouds. Right now, we're enjoying a little bit of shade in the center as the radio van goes by. Coming up behind them is the Chelmsford Minutemen, and it looks like they're getting ready to fire off a shot. It just stretches the imagination to think back in those Revolutionary War days when every town had its sort of volunteer militia, such as these men, who would be ready at a moment's notice to protect whatever, their local belongings, or in this case, the fledgling United States. And the Chelmsford Minutemen honor those who've served and who continue to serve in the armed forces of our country. This year, the Minutemen are sponsored by the Chelmsford Lumber Company. Thinking back, they would be the tradesmen and the farmers in the outlying homes in town who would muster together. That's where that word comes from, to muster, to protect their town, their country. Here's the Chelmsford Public Library float, sponsored by Marty's Landscaping, providing the truck for that. The Friends of the Library encourage all of us to dream big this summer and come visit the library summer reading room, which is a nice place to kind of get away, get out of the heat. Following them is the Chelmsford Mothers Club. This is their first time. The club is for mothers of ages children up to 10 and offers playgroups, seasonal activities, and other outings. They hope to have a tag sale this September. It's great to see them. Looking there at the reviewing stand where our parade marshals have taken up residence, along with some of the town selectmen there you see on the left, and town manager Paul Cohen. One of the sad consequences of renovating the old town hall is there had been some really beautiful trees out in front of it. Those have been removed, and I recall fondly the many times that I took refuge in the shade of those trees during the parade. But now it opens up the gateway to that facility and allows for a really wide open view of it. You can see as you look down the street that if anything the crowd has grown since when we started. Over there on the left, beyond the reviewing stand, the crowd is, I don't know, 10 or 15 deep. I think I see Charlie Chaplin walking down the street there. Of course, it's not the Charlie Chaplin, but it's an homage to one of the great comedians of silent film fame.
Happy 4th. Have a safe one.
And following up behind Charlie Chaplin is the Muchachos Drum and Bugle Corps. They're sponsored this year by Lowell 5. It's the Muchachos is a nonprofit educational organization. Their priority is teaching musical proficiency and marching arts.
Following the Muchachos is the United States Submarines veterans out of Marblehead. They agreed to perpetuate the memory of our shipmates who gave their lives in pursuit of their duties while serving their country. They remember those who gave their lives serving aboard the 52 U.S. submarines lost during the time of war. Civilian techs. Naval shipyard. Well, for the United States submarine veterans.
And coming up, the U.S. Marine veterans, submarine veterans. They're based in Marblehead. Their goal is to remember those who gave their lives serving aboard the 52 U.S. submarines that have been lost during times of war, and the 15 submarines that have been lost during peacetime. Their particular float this year memorializes the loss of the Thresher, which was lost off the coast of New England in April of 1963, April 10th, in fact. All hands were lost, 16 officers, 96 enlisted men, and 17 civilian technicians based out of the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Well, what parade would not be complete if it didn't have its very own Sherman tank? This has been provided by the Collings Foundation, working World War II tank. Collings Foundation is a non-profit educational foundation based in Stowe. They're mostly into the collection and preservation of military equipment. And this is obviously one of their street legal pieces. Behind the tank is this half-track from World War II. An armored vehicle, attack vehicle. Well, here we have the Trinity ambulance entrant. Trinity is sponsoring, and the Chumley family who run it are sponsoring the one of the big groups coming up, Group Fantasia. Now, if you like to move to the music, Group Fantasia is for you. They do a variety of Latin and Caribbean styles. They actually educate the public about Latin and Caribbean music. It was begun by a Dominican musician by the name of Angel Wagner. My notes say that he began playing on a cheese grater with a fork, and he's gone on to learn how to play about 30 different instruments. Coming up, that's John Golnick, who's running for Congress. This being an election year, it's a time to take stock of where we are, where we're going. and who we want to lead us there. John is the Republican candidate.
Following this liberty and bugles across America. Their slogan, let's never forget the fallen. All the MIA bugles across America.
I'm guessing he's running for the 5th congressional seat here in Massachusetts. I think it's still called that after redistricting. That seat currently held by Nikki Tsongas.
Following Darth Vader and Yoda is the immune deficiency and United.
Well, there's Miss Liberty making an appearance in the back of a pickup truck.
God bless USA!
With primary immunodeficiency diseases through advocacy, education, and research. The UMDF mission is to promote research and education for the diagnosis,
And
treatment,
following her is the entry from Bugles Across America, which whose slogan is, let us never forget the fallen, and to the missing in action and POWs, you are not forgotten.
after Team Hope is the Lexington Minutemen. We're thrilled to have them here again. They're originally known as the Lexington Training Band, or the Lexington Militia, the oldest existing minimum company in the United States, formed on December 13, 1773. It was the only company that has remained continuous.
Well, here are a couple of characters from the big screen. I leave it to you to figure out which one is Darth Vader and which one is Yoda. I think of them as timeless characters from the Star Wars films. Really iconic characters from those.
The Lexington Minutemen provide an impressive display of 18th century military dress.
Wielding their lightsabers.
The name of 1875 was a reproduction of the original Continental Army uniform of General George. Welcome to the Lexington Minutemen.
This is the float entry from the Immune Deficiency Foundation and also the jointly with the United Mitochondrial Disease Foundation. These are patient organizations dedicated to improving diagnoses and treatment and quality of life of persons with these diseases. Well, here we have the Lexington Minutemen, who are regulars here at the Chelmsford annual parade. They originally known as the Lexington Training Band or the Lexington Militia. They are the oldest existing Minuteman company in the United States, formed in 1773. In fact, it's the 7th oldest in the world. Now here we have the Cub Scout Pack 81 and their first place winning float entry. the first of quite a few floats we're going to see here from Cub Scout groups. They are sponsored this year by the Aldersgate United Methodist Church. Cub Scout Pack 81. Congrats. And behind them, the Chelmsford Chinese Language School. I can attest that Chinese is not a very easy language to learn. If you're interested, you can give them a call. And behind them, the Chelmsford Youth Baseball District All-Stars, who represent Chelmsford Youth Baseball. They'll be competing in tournaments throughout the Merrimack Valley this summer. They are 10, 11, and 12-year-olds. They also face off against other teams in the District 2 of the Cal Ripken League in hopes of reaching the state tournament. We wish them good luck. And here's an entry from the Chelmsford Dog Association, that beautiful 1970 Cadillac. This year the hope is for the association to plan a dog park, as they say, that no one can refuse, Godfather style. Here is Sandy Martinez, who is also running for state senate. You know, I often wonder these parade entrants who toss out candy to the crowd, how they gauge whether or not they'll have enough left by the time they get down to this end where all the people are. Well, behind Sandy Martinez and her supporters is the Italian American Band. It's a military-style band that has been here many times before. They appear in many area parades and festivals. Now coming up is, I believe, the float entry from St. John the Evangelist Parish up in North Chelmsford. They're publicizing a program running from July 16th through 22nd involving Babylon and Daniel's Courage in Captivity. This is, I believe, the first time that the parish has had a float. And they took third place in the float division with that entrant. There's Father Paul Ritt, who's the pastor of the parish. Sandy Donovan riding the Preserve Religious Freedom entrant, recognizing that our nation's founding fathers embraced freedom of religion as an essential condition of a free and democratic society. And following that, to back it up, is Mr. King with a pretty large bazooka on his shoulder. The enforcer. And another candidate for state senate is Joe Kearns Goodwin. He's a Concord native who's running for the 3rd Middlesex seat, which includes part of Chelmsford. He's a veteran of the wars of both Iraq and Afghanistan. Now here coming up is a really nice renovation project. This is the bus of Shays School. It was a bus that was converted painstakingly over 2 years. Used to belong to the Christensen Bus Company in Billerica, and it's driven by Dan Shay. It's a fully self-sufficient school bus that's been converted to an RV. Another one here. This one's driven by owner-operator Dan Pascucci. Now, if a custom bus isn't your mode of transportation, maybe you'd like to do it on foot. We have here the Acton Minutemen. Now you think of the fight at the Old North Bridge as involving militias from Concord and Lexington, but in fact it was the Acton Minutemen who were the first to fight at the Old North Bridge. They march in honor of their native son Isaac Davis, the first commissioned officer to die for his country in 1775, on that first day of the American Revolution. And the distinctive orange of Best Fitness here in town at the Chelmsford Mall, urging you to work out, get in shape, feel better. You need to stop and ask them if they've been doing that for 2 months. Well, we need to clear the street a little bit for our next entrant. Sponsored by Enterprise Bank, it's the Spartans Drum and Bugle Corps. They're one of the most respected groups in the country. They were established in 1955. They're truly an award-winning group based out of Nashua. They have promoted youth involvement and participation for all those years. They've won numerous international gold medals. They're a 5-time winner of the DCI Open class gold medal. Sponsored again by Enterprise Bank, the Spartans Drum and Bugle Corps. Once again, the Spartans Drum and Bugle Corps from Nashua, New Hampshire. Great to have them back with us again this year. Coming up is the entry from Cub Scout Pack 77, which celebrates America this year with an assortment of landmarks, memorials, and other symbols of our great nation. They're also saluting Boy Scouts of America as they mark the 100th anniversary of the first Eagle Scout. Cub Scout Pack 77. And here's a 1975 Detroit diesel engine for home delivery, driven by Warren Shaw of Shaw Farm Market in Dracut. It's the only dairy farm delivering to homes in the Chelmsford area. It might be a 1975 engine, but it says here it's got modern refrigeration. And here is James Arciero, our state representative from Chelmsford, one of our state reps, accompanied by his family, friends, and supporters. He represents precincts 3, 5, and 7 here in Chelmsford, as well as Littleton and Westford. And behind him are the Concord Minutemen. I'm sorry, the Groton Minutemen, excuse me. Officially reactivated by the Town Fathers in 1974 in preparation for the bicentennial celebration. This group, as were many others, were in Concord for the shot heard round the world in 1775. They marched on to become involved in Bunker Hill, and they continued to serve throughout the War for Independence. Nice Airstream mobile home, followed by the entry for Countryside Veterinary Hospital here in town, serving our pets and their owners since 1985. Here's a 1977 Monte Carlo, a great muscle car in its day, driven by Mark Gorham. Although I don't think it would be much of a match for the Hummer rolling up behind it. We're pleased to have this year in the parade His Majesty's 10th Regiment of Foot. This group portrays a British Army regiment as it would have appeared in 1775. Founded by Vincent Keogh here in Chelmsford in 1968. You can see them every year at on the Lexington Green on Patriots Day. His Majesty's 10th Regiment of Foot. If you want to learn more, you can go to redcoat.org to find out. They were sponsored this year by Harrington Wine and Liquors. Now the camp followers there are joined by Snow White, gracing us with an appearance here today. I wonder where Prince Charming is. Well, here's a beautifully restored car. It's a 1955 DeSoto Fire Dome with a beautiful interior and exterior driven by its owner, Robert Egan.
Following Ferrero's Cub Scout Pack 107.
And coming up a car almost I'm not sure what that is. It looks like a truck in search of a float or a group to put on it from Ferrero Towing. Well, here's the entrance of Cub Scout Pack 107. The theme for this year is Pirates of the Caribbean. They're made up primarily of students from the Byam School area, starting with children as young as first grade in age. They're going to be participating in the Byam's Ice Cream Social this fall. Well, there's a great view from high atop the community tree aerial ladder. Dan Sylvia at the controls, down the parade route. Looking up North Road in the direction of North Chelmsford. Coming up is the Sons of Italy Drum and Bugle Corps, sponsored by Ferrero's Towing, which might explain the truck a couple back. This group is led by Stephen Ianolto, and it's been in existence for 76 years. They played for 2 presidents and been on national TV 3 times. Well, all of that red, white, and blue is the theme of this year's entry from the Republican Town Committee. And behind them, the encouraging us all, of course, to vote in November. And behind them is Tom Weaver, who's a candidate for Congress. But that's not Tom Weaver. That's local personality. Well, maybe it is Tom Weaver. for the 3rd Congressional District. With the
Great job, committee.
recent
Great job.
census in the United States, a lot of shuffling has been going on here in Massachusetts and other states. Our state, due to its relative decline in population compared to other parts of the country, has lost one of its congressional seats. So all of the congressional districts have been redistricted, redrawn, and so even incumbents who were formerly very comfortable in their districts are now finding themselves having to introduce themselves to new constituents. And there's no better kind of meet and greet than an Independence Day parade. There's a quick shot of some of the people lining the parade route. The red and blue cans there are for the Chelmsford Parade Committee, which is responsible for all of this spectacle that you're seeing now. The Parade Committee is an independent group set up, took over the reins from the town a few years ago. Prior to that, the Chelmsford Lodge of Elks ran it for 22 years, but the parade has grown and become more involved, and the Parade Committee has taken the reins. Jeff Hardy and Brian Reedy as the co-chairs.
Nuclear scientist, Eagle Scout, Navy Academy graduate, running for Congress, entrepreneur. He works for a living. He's running for Congress. He needs your vote and your support. Tom Weaver for Congress. Show ID.
We are grateful for those volunteers who have made this the great parade that it is. Well, I'm sorry, this, my sheets are a little out of order here. This is the Sons of Italy Drum and Bugle Corps. I thought they were a little small the first time around. Sponsored by Ferreira's Towing, based in Haverhill. Joined by Spider-Man there in the background. Just a little out of character for the rest of the band, I have to say. Anyway, this Sons of Italy Drum and Bugle Corps is led by Stephen Ianolto. Sons of Italy Drum and Bugle Corps out of Haverhill. It's great to have them here again this year. Classic cars coming up. This is a 1963 Chevrolet Nova, I think. Driven by Michael Robinson. And behind it is an old Oldsmobile. A beautifully restored car. That was 1971 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, driven by Miles Mann. Well, there's Belle making an appearance from Beauty and the Beast, taking a little time off from her adventures in animated fantasy and looking very nice on this warm summer day, blowing kisses to the crowd, the young children. As you've seen, a lot of the local politicians and political wannabes are making an appearance here at the 4th of July Independence Day Parade. Coming up is local son Alex Buck, lives here in Chelmsford. He's running for the 3rd Middlesex District seat in the State Senate.
Community activist and lifelong volunteer from Chelmsford. Welcome, Darth, and happy 4th of July.
Alex has gotten a lot of his family, friends, and supporters to come out today. In fact, I was noticing some of the political candidate entries have as many or more marchers as some of the bands that we've seen. There's Alex there.
Following the Democratic Town Committee, very special guest with Twirl to have this year, all the way from Canada, the Titan Bugle Corp.
Hey, John.
Very impressive resume.
Certainly a young man with ambition for political office.
And we're thrilled to have him here. The Titan Bugle Corp.
This is the car of the Chelmsford Democratic Town Committee. Doris Wheeler's in that car, a lifelong volunteer from the Chelmsford area. And behind her and them, the Titan Marching Band from Quebec, Canada, sponsored by the Parade Committee. Returning to our festival for the first time in several years. Well, here's Cub Scout Pack 45 making an appearance, and this is one of the packs that has done a great job with their float this year. They did earned an honorable mention. Their float is themed Passport to Cub World, and they invite all boys grades 1 through 5 to join them to learn new skills, perform community service, and have fun. An appearance of Mara Dolan, who's also running for State Senate and her committee. Here's a very colorful float from Christopher's Towing, built by the crew and the family of the company. They've been here many, many years. It's a third-generation family, and simply here to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. As you can imagine, a lot of these floats were a little precarious. due to the rain this morning, but they all look great. Here's an entry from the Lowell Humane Society featuring teens who are helping pets, a dedicated group of volunteers, young volunteers, who raise funds and do outreach and increase awareness of the Humane Society, the Lowell Humane Society.
Next up is the Studio A Dance Company. The new dance studio coming soon.
Those energetic and acrobatic young kids you see there are from the Studio A Dance Company. They're all excited because very soon they're going to be moving into a new studio on Route 27. CeLO Earth is an acronym that stands for Serene Environment and Life on Earth. It's a nonprofit that promotes unity and peace around the world for the better future of our planet. You know, as the parade is winding down here, just want to remember that it doesn't end when the parade stops, because we have lots of other activities here at the town center going on throughout the afternoon. The Chelmsford Art Society, the country fair, the raffle to give away $1,655 and other prizes. One of the things we've come to depend on is the appearance of Rick Larimore, who is a great impersonator of the pop music star Rod Stewart. He's being sponsored by the Chelmsford Parade Committee. Rick lives here in Chelmsford. Well, Rick has been doing shows all over the East Coast. He's even heading down to Santo Domingo. He couldn't miss coming back to his hometown to participate in the parade here. The youngsters you see there are from the ATA Martial Arts, who build tomorrow's leaders, one black belt at a time. Don't mess with them. They have hands of steel. Looks like some of them have been on the wrong end of a super soaker. Here's the entry from Ride Like the Wind Stables, which offers riding lessons in both English and Western disciplines from ages 6 and up. And what horse event would be complete without a pooper scooper to come up behind? Ride Like the Wind Stables. Now, a growing movement here in town is the organization by and recognition of our local farmers. Chelmsford farmers include the Parley Farm, Lupin Farm, Coles Farm. And as a reminder, our local farmers market will be kicking off very soon. This week, I think, on the Common. So once all the pomp and circumstance and the celebration goes away, it'll be replaced by tomatoes and peaches and fresh vegetables, strawberries and such from around our neighboring farms. My wife doesn't believe me when I tell her, but I learned how to ride a tractor on my farm home out in California before I learned how to drive a car, and it looked a lot like that. Donna Parley tells me, there she is there, that they're about to kick off strawberry season. And our final entry today, our final entry is Attic Music, which is sponsored by the Chelmsford Business Association. A band that enjoys playing classic and progressive rock and roll. Keep an eye out for the drummer, that's our own Jeff Hardy, banging away. You tell me. Mike, 1, 2, 3. Down behind me, I just want to tell you that it's been a great day. The weather has turned out fabulous, and today's festivities are far from over. The parade may be over, the road race may be over, but if you come down to the Common, you can see our wonderful country fair sponsored by the Lions Club. 61 booths, wonderful food, drinks, community service organizations. Across the street here we have the gorgeous, really recently renovated Chelmsford Center for the Arts, the old town hall. Inside you'll find the Chelmsford Art Society, its 44th annual art show on the 4th of July. And at noon we'll have a raffle here by the Chelmsford Parade Committee. And one of you lucky viewers there, or one of the people here, will win the top prizes. One is $1,655, that's the year that Chelmsford was incorporated. And the other is a sports extravaganza, 2 tickets each to the Bruins, Celtics, Patriots, and Red Sox. Can't beat that. So we're going to wrap it here for our live presentation. We want to thank a bunch of people. Want to thank Community Tree for providing the aerial ladder that allowed us to provide those great scenic shots from up above. We want to thank our crew here at Chelmsford Telemedia, especially all the Chelmsford High School TV volunteers that helped us out. They have been here since very early in the morning. When I showed up, they were all soaking wet. So a big shout out to them. And of course, we want to thank the Parade Committee for making this possible. And so with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. Thank you for joining us. Happy birthday, America, on this 236th, 232nd, no, I'll get it right eventually, 236th, right, birthday for our country. And we're going to show you from this point forward the ribbon cutting and events that took place yesterday, the opening ceremonies for our 4th of July parade. So again, thanks for joining us. Have a great holiday.
My name is David Lapierre, and I represent the Chelmsford Toastmasters. We're one of the founding organizations here at the CCA. The Toastmasters have been meeting here for more than half of their 33 years here in Chelmsford. And we're very excited that we'll be coming back here starting next week. Some of the other organizations that have been a part of the CCA have been the Chelmsford Art Society, who will be featuring their first event here right after the ribbon cutting with their 44th consecutive art festival. The Chelmsford Cultural Council is also a part of the CCA, the Chelmsford Community Band, the Chelmsford Community Jazz Band, the Illumination Opera, and the Chelmsford Players. Our hope and dream is the CCA will continue to serve the town for generations to come. With us this evening, we have many people who played a role in transforming the old town hall into the wonderful facility that we're about to open. I'd like to just highlight some of those folks right now. The architects who helped design and make this possible is Jen Harkeman and Tom Scarlotta. Kevin Heffernan, who is the project manager from Vertex, who helped pull this off in time for this to open up before our 4th of July celebration. The CCA board, whose chair, Susan Gates, who's worked tirelessly to help make this happen. I think you really deserve a big round of applause and a bravo. And helping Susan on the CCA board, the other board members, Kathy Cryan Hicks, Daisy Zuzas, Kit Harbison, and Andy Regan. Now, we've got several folks who are going to say a few words, and we're going to start off with Paul Cohen, our town manager.
Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, I really want to thank you all for taking time out to attend this event today. This is a beginning, a new beginning for this building and the activities in the center of the town. But it also, I think it's appropriate to recognize those who got us here. And then my remarks will be followed by John Curlin from the Board of Selectmen, and then Bob Morse from the Community Preservation Committee, and Pat Maloney, who's the chair of the Permanent Building Committee. And the thought that sort of runs, I think, through my head, and I hope that you would feel, is how we got here is you look back to when this building was constructed back in 1880, and I think our forefathers, foreparents, the sires, the children, everybody else who was here at that time, I think they would be proud of where we are today when they envisioned building this building on the town common and providing a facility for the town hall, for the community. And here we are 140 years later, rededicating the commitment to the community and the recognizing the efforts of the town of Chelmsford. But also I'd want to recognize more in contemporary times, there was a previous building committee back in 1984 that also renovated and preserved this building. And really the efforts today really enhance that renovation into a permanent legacy. And people such as Dennis Reddy and the others who were on the Board of Selectmen and on the committee, you know, just a short, almost, well, at this point, almost 30 years ago, really must take tremendous pride and accomplishment because their efforts have really brought us to where we are today. As we know, a project like this really does speak to the community and really all the efforts of all those in attendance today and also across the community. And really, I think if you look back in terms of one of the sentinel moments and how we got here today, I really want to recognize the stride and step that was taken by David Hedison, who is the chairman of the Housing Authority. This was not David's vision. However, I think it does need to recognize it, but for his catalytic effort, it really galvanized this community to recognize what will we do with this building and also what would we do with the North Town Hall. And I think, you know, like most events in history, they don't sort of start out in a planned effort. There really were some efforts along the way that sort of brought it about. And really, I want to recognize David's efforts because clearly David was acting in really the best interest of the community. And I think from that really brought where we are today. Also, at that time, we had the Town Hall Study Committee, which many people here are present from that committee, and really started the process in motion, where they then went to the Community Preservation Committee for the funding recommendation in terms of how can we move forward in what was a very challenging fiscal time to bring this project into reality. And obviously that ultimately went through the town meeting, with representative town meeting who brought forward the appropriation on the council of the Community Preservation Committee to move this project from becoming a dream into becoming a reality. As I noted earlier, you know, others should be recognized. The Board of Selectmen for its support and guidance along the way in terms of contract approval and general oversight on behalf of the community. The board and boards that were along the way really helped us get here. And I think it should be recognized, and I know it will be later because we'll be hearing from Pat Maloney. The Permanent Building Committee it really did a fantastic job. Many of you who've been inside perhaps already or will go inside. It really was a tremendous effort in which they would meet at least twice a month for hours in terms of working with Susan and others, the Historic District Commission and others in terms of how do we best restore this building for its intended use. And also Pat and his generous time on Tuesdays for the weekly project meetings with the architect, the project manager, the contractor, and so forth. I don't know of anybody who's given so much to this community on a volunteer basis as Pat Maloney has. And again, as Pat will say, and I'm sure he will when he comes up here, it really was a community effort. It was with other members of the Permanent Building Committee, Dave Duane is co-chair, and there's so many members, Kathleen Howe I know is here from the Permanent Building Committee, Dave Duane, and so many others who really made this effort become possible. And also, really, in the full-time basis, really representing the town was Gary Persichetti, our facilities director. Gary again brought his experience, and again the experience he had with working with Pat on the successful high school and middle school project in making this become a reality in terms of meeting the budget and meeting the challenges for the project. So I really want to recognize Gary for his efforts. As was noted by David, also the guidance in terms of how would the building be adapted to its new use as a performing arts center. And again, the credit goes to Susan Gates and the Town Hall Advisory Committee, who sort of got into this project before the renovations and sort of had a trial run. And then Susan sort of struggled to keep the framework together, not so much in terms of the renovations and inside of the project, but the organizations who were displaced during the construction. That's a fantastic job, and we know how excited they are, including the artists, to come back into the building. So that's a tremendous effort. And then there's also the other donations that come along the way. As I wrap up here, the Chelmsford Telemedia donated the equipment upstairs that will be provided for the theatrical lighting and the sound system. And also you'll see next month or in the fall when we get to the dedication at North Town Hall, they also stepped up for that effort. And again, Chelmsford Telemedia has just been a tremendous partner to the community on this project, and even as Susan knows, even to get the wiring into the building in the last few days to provide the full access and opportunities of the site. And also even other efforts that came up along the way in terms of somebody such as Charlie Parlay, who donated the granite bollards that grace the front of the building for the old hitching post that really, again, restored the era in which the building was constructed. And also finally, and I know I speak on behalf of Susan and the committee, the many people across the community who donated and made, in terms of funds or other efforts, to furnish and establish the community, the Performing Arts Center here at the Town Hall. Your efforts are tremendously appreciated. So with that, I'd like to turn the podium over to Bob Morse, who's going to speak on behalf of the Community Preservation Committee, who really can recognize another success in this community and a long trail of successes, which Bob was the founding chair and member of the Community Preservation Committee.
I'm speaking here on behalf of the Community Preservation Committee, which in April 2010 sponsored a town meeting warrant article for the restoration of the beautiful old building behind us, now the proud home of the Chelmsford Center for the Arts. As we look around at our historic town center, one can appreciate the impact that Community Preservation Fund has had in making it an increasingly beautiful place. Looking up across the street that way, one can see the 1876 Howard clock, which is the town clock, residing in the lovingly restored steeple of First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church. Community Preservation Act funding, along with funding from the church, made the restoration possible. The 1802 schoolhouse, a quaint one-room schoolhouse in its original location perched on the edge of Forefathers Cemetery, will soon be restored thanks to the Community Preservation Fund. In fact, over $9 million has been spent on CPA projects in Chelmsford, ranging from big things like the acquisition of the 25-acre Sunny Meadow Farm, the purchase of the Pond Street Beach on Hart Pond next to the Freeman Rail Trail, providing seed and supplemental funding that led to the creation of well over 100 units of elderly, family, veteran, and special needs affordable housing, restoration funding for the historic Garrison House and Barrett Byam House, and also many small things like funding for Eagle Scout projects that improve our town's many open space parcels. Projects like a handicap accessible community garden by Troop 70, a town tree nursery by Troop 74, and a bicycle repair station by Troop 77, to name just a few. By far, the largest use of CPA funds has been used for the restoration of not one, but two historic town halls. The town meeting vote in 2010 approved spending $2.56 million to renovate Center Town Hall and $2.85 million to restore the North Town Hall, which has sat vacant and unused since 1981, and now will be returned into active use for community center with an after-school program. Both buildings will now have full access for the disabled with elevator access to all floors. Some of these projects, certainly the large projects, would not have been possible without Community Preservation Act funding. Money for what is viewed as non-essentials is simply too difficult to find in the town's exceedingly tight budget. However, thanks to the wisdom and forward-looking vision of the Chelmsford voter, the Community Preservation Act was not only passed in Chelmsford in 2001, but the surcharge increased in 2007 at the ballot box. The result is a Chelmsford with more permanently protected open space than ever before, more units of affordable housing for our senior citizens, our veterans, our disabled, and our families, and a town whose historic town halls are flourishing and being used for community purposes. The building behind me served as Chelmsford's town hall from when it was built in 1879 for a cost of $7,000 to 1981 when the town offices at 50 Billerica Road became available. During that time, it was repartitioned and renovated many times as town functions changed and grew to accommodate Chelmsford's rapidly growing population. Since 1981, it has served many different purposes, from being used as a recreation center to being leased out for office space, as a charter school, and most recently as the Chelmsford Center for the Arts. Under the direction of the innovative and resourceful Susan Gates, the CCA will have a long and bright future serving as a cultural center for the town. Thank you.
This time last year, if you looked across the street, you would have seen a weathered and battered old flagpole, incapable of supporting Old Glory. Today you see a beautiful new flagpole that proudly stands as the standard bearer for the symbol of our great nation. Last year, the clock in the town center looked mottled as it stood silent and indicated the correct time only twice a day. Now it is fully restored. It looks brand new and announces every hour with the clarion call of its glorious bell. This time last year, you would have seen the old town hall as a mere shadow of its former greatness. The interior appeared as tired and neglected as its chipped and flaking exterior paint. Look what has transpired in a single year. Today we celebrate the reopening of this historic building, renamed as the Chelmsford Center for the Arts, so let's not refer to it as Old Town Hall anymore. In 1879, citizens and town leaders stood at this site to celebrate the opening of a beautiful town hall. This building represented both a fine example of the architecture of the era, as well as serving as the new seat of town government. This was a major accomplishment in the history of Chelmsford. Chelmsford would no longer conduct municipal business in the First Parish Church because it now had a building solely dedicated to the governance of our town. I can only imagine that the sense of pride that those people felt on that date is comparable to the pride we all feel today. This building has always been more than a municipal project. This has been a community effort that started with Chelmsford citizens who had a vision of establishing a center for the arts. It has truly been a cooperative and collaborative endeavor. There are many people who helped make this event a reality, and the list is too long for me to repeat, and I fear that I might omit some, and I would hate to do that. Suffice it to say that this project would not have been possible without the support of countless town officials and volunteers. I would specifically like to acknowledge the town meeting representatives, the Community Preservation Fund Committee, and the Permanent Building Committee for helping support and fund this project. Also, thanks to all of the individuals who raised funds and made private donations to enhance this Center for the Arts. This has always been less of a municipal project than a labor of love. Those who have donated countless hours in the planning, permitting, and supervision of this project are owed our appreciation and gratitude. But their real reward is seeing that this vision has become a reality. As impressive as this building appears today, it will look even better when the unsightly telephone poles and lines are removed as part of an ongoing project to depress these utilities. If all goes as planned, this will be accomplished in the near future so that the original beauty and majesty of this building can be fully appreciated without the presence of those ugly modern contrivances. I hope that soon we will be able to take pictures of this building from the Common that reflect the original 1879 charm of the setting without poles and utility lines detracting from the image. In these difficult financial times, one of the first cuts that are made by many school departments is in the arts programs. Today, Chelmsford is making a statement. We have built a Center for the Arts that will be a source of pride for our town and citizens for generations. This building signifies that Chelmsford recognizes the importance that art provides to the establishment and maintenance of a vibrant community. It is a symbol that we value and will actively support the arts. We now have a top-notch facility for art shows, performances, and social events. This is a great day for Chelmsford and our citizens. Today we celebrate all that is good and great in our town. This project will also serve to show what a town can accomplish if there is vision, commitment, dedication, hard work, and cooperation. Our town motto is, "Let the children guard what the sires have won." Perhaps today it is more fitting if we say, "Let the children restore what the sires have built." Thank you.
My name is Pat Maloney. I don't have anything prepared, so I'm just going to kind of wing it here. But what a great day for Chelmsford, really. I think back over the last 10 years on all the projects that I've been involved in and what we've been able to accomplish as a community over those 10 years, even during the times of economic adversity. You know, we've taken this building, we've taken North Town Hall, and we've rehabilitated them and provided them for new uses. We've reinvented them. Chelmsford has a knack for doing that too, and I can't be prouder of this town for being able to do that and look forward and have the vision to do projects like this. So it's really humbling for me to think where we've come from just over the past 10 years. How we've come far along. So with that, I want to just thank a couple of people that didn't get a chance to thoroughly thank earlier. Our project manager from Vertex Construction Services. He was mentioned earlier. Kevin's out here now. So Kevin, if you put your arm up and even though he's from Bugle, and he'll be the first to
I do that way, no?
We're proud to have him, and thank you, Kevin, for your service.
Anytime.
Barbara and Henry and the architect were our architects, and the principal architect was Tom Scott. Tom, thank you very much for all your service. The woman that said Barbara and Henry, an architect, was Jen Hawken, and she did the owners work here. What a pleasure it was to work with somebody that was so detailed and wanted the best for our town as well as us. So Jen, if you just throw your arm up over there. Without these people, this project would not have been the success it is today. So I don't have many other things. Gary Persichetti, obviously, great guy to work with. And Susan and I spent a frustrating day over here, and many a frustrating afternoon, but this makes it all worth it. And so for Susan's vision and revision and all her hard work, thank you, Susan. And with that, I'll turn it over. And thank you. Congratulations, Chelsea.
Come on, girls.
Come
on, Kathy, come here. No, that's okay. All right, come on.
Over and
okay. All right. All right. Hands I'll here. cut. Yeah, I don't know. okay. There we go. All right. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right.
That drama it's been shot, now being edited.
Oh, okay.
The radio show, then I'll see you in August.
Okay.
He's got the perfect 1940s radio answer.
Well, I went through the audition.
I have to say,
I'll just stick with you.
I inadvertently locked the office door.
Good guy to have around, Gary.